friend of mine posed a challenge to me the other day. This challenge was based on something I had disclosed to her around this podcast. After she asked how it was going and where was my next episode, and I told her that I was not 100%, but I was moving in the direction of discontinuing the podcast. And she said how much she enjoyed these episodes, these sharings, personal stories, and mythic weavings that I share. And I explained to her that I enjoyed it too, but it takes so much time that I feel like I'm being split between so many different things. And quite honestly, I find myself asking how anybody does all the things. What I'm coming to find out is that nobody actually does do all the things. We usually tend to focus our efforts in a few areas, and if we do, maybe we do them well. Otherwise, our energy becomes scattered and becomes diluted. And for me, living the life of a spirit worker where I'm working co-creatively and magically with spirits, whether for in service to and support of other people or in service and support of the earth. In working with this way, power is definitely an important commodity. And we have all kinds of ideas about power, about those in power and those not in power. And power has been given a really bad rap. But we cannot do our work without it, especially our spiritual work, especially our sacred work. We need power because when we stand forth to do sacred work, we actually use power. Some traditions would have you believe that when we stand forth and we, for example, channel a divine idea or a form of healing energy, that is pure divine energy flowing through us. And therefore, it is an unending source. It is true that source is infinite, that energetic flow is infinite, but our ability to hook up to it and allow it to move through us, express in the form of spiritual work, divination, dowsing, ceremony, all of these aspects of spirit work require power. And if we have any issues with power, we're going to have difficulty doing our sacred work. Now, these difficulties might show up in many different ways that we do not even connect to a lack of power or an unclear relationship with power for many, 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 many years. So we have to, in this work, place a focus on questions of power, where our power is going, where our power is leaking, and circling back to this inquiry and this decision of mine, which I haven't fully come to yet. I have become aware how much energy, time this podcast takes. And just to connect these dots, anytime we have a huge concentration of energy, focus, and time, there is also a concentration of power there. So I really have been sitting in the question of, is this one of the areas that my soul really wants to focus on right now, knowing that each of us has only a finite amount of time and energy to put on their priorities. So the challenge or invitation rather that she posed to me after learning that one of the reasons that this podcast has fallen to the wayside is because of the incredible amount of time it takes to edit and produce an episode. Can be anywhere from 10 to 20 hours. And sprinkling that among teaching and seeing clients and tending and managing the land and the garden and my inner world and spiritual allies and tending to relationships with friend and trying to build community and you can see that 10 to 20 hours is a huge drop in the bucket and not something for me to take lightly. So the challenge invitation that she posed to me was, what if it didn't have to take so long? And I myself have asked that question a million times. What if it didn't have to take so long? And every time I commit to it not taking that long, my inner perfectionist comes out and finds myself spending hours on the editing, hours and hours to create this beautifully finished package for you. Something that will be not just enjoyable and easy to listen to, easy to follow, but also beautiful. And I know that that is not serving. It's not serving me. And I have to believe that whether you or I know it or not, it's probably not even serving you. So this is my exploration in what she posed, which is, what if I just sit down in front of the microphone and hit the record button? No prior thought, no prior planning, and see what comes out. And then the other half of that, which is actually the most important part, is then using my greatest constraint or restraint rather, to not highly edit. And it's that's it line that I always cross, which is, before I know it, I am all up in the recording, tearing it apart, pulling out anything that I think is extraneous, and pulling out a lot of very potentially interesting tangents and rabbit holes. So this is my exploration to even see if I am capable of such a feat. And then if I am capable of such a feat, if it's something that is of value to share with others, or if it just becomes for me, right? We might journal in the morning and we just allow that stream of consciousness to flow, and some good stuff, some real gems might come out of it. But I never share a journal page on my blog, maybe an excerpt, an idea that has come through that then I work and grow and build and craft to bring forward something of interest and entertainment or education, but never just the raw, unfiltered. And it's not even about not sharing the inner parts. That's not what it's about at all. It's just, I think you know what I'm saying. It's the unstructured flow of information And so I want you to know that I value your time. I value this, what do they call it? Parasocial relationship, where you may feel like you know me, for example, the person speaking on social media or the podcast, but I may not know you. And I value the time it takes to hit play and then choose with your attention that is oh so precious in this day and age to enjoy and deepen into one of these conversations and explorations. I value that. And I want to see if there is a way to make this work. So maybe this episode ends up going into the trash folder, to be honest. Maybe this episode ends up only going to my secret garden folks, which are those beautiful paid subscribers that I have so much appreciation for. Thank you so much for supporting this work. The secret garden folks who really contribute to the work I do, the work that is like this, the podcast, unpaid, or the work that I do at New Avalon and in the world. So thank you so much. And it only costs $8 to become a subscriber. It's $8 a month, and you can cancel at any time. So maybe it goes to the secret garden folks, or maybe I am brave enough and share this episode with everyone in the end so that you all know where I'm at with this exploration. I think that's all I'm going to share for now. I wanted to let you know where I was at, why episodes are slow to come, and also let you know that there are many ways to connect and experience this body of work beyond the podcast, regardless of what ends up unfolding with this great project. One of those ways is, as I mentioned, subscribing. You can subscribe for free, and there's also the Secret Garden folks who are currently receiving a secret video series for me about my mythic France journey that I recently was on. It was an ancestral pilgrimage. And so if you want to get in on that video series, as soon as you become a paid subscriber, you actually binge watch all the videos. They're all only 3 to 5 to 8 minutes tops. So they're very digestible. And second, I am running once again. It's back by popular demand, the Sacred Sites and Quests of the Soul course. So the Sacred Sites and Quests of the Soul course is going to be starting in mid-September. That's a 6-week course with me where you will deepen into land consciousness, what it is to commune with sacred sites, how to prepare for journeying to them, and also making yourself a frequency match to work with sacred sites and work with the ultimate sacred site, which is this beautiful earth we live upon. So it's a 2-in-1 course, meaning that it is an exploration of the earth mysteries and learning about sacred sites while also being curated as a spiritual container to allow you to step into the quest yourself. A quest that I will be guiding and facilitating, but you yourself will be taking and embarking on. So I hope you'll check that out if that calls to you. You can find it at my website, www.diamirarose.com/sacred sites. And with that, thank you so much for listening. I wish you all a beautiful entry into fall or into spring for those of you down under. Thank you so much.